This is not a false alarm. Smoker has been buffed. That's right, and it was a nice buff. Actually, you know what? Why don't we just stop wasting time, and why don't I show you? Here we go. That is right, you heard that right, Smoker has been buffed. Now, with that being said though, you may want to know a couple tips and tricks to help you play Smoker to his maximum potential, because this is an enjoyable card to play right now, and he's in a good spot. So with that being said, why don't I give you tip number 1 for playing Smoker. Tip number 1 is as followed. Use the ultimate ability. The ultimate ability on this is really good and grants you a lot of movement. That combined with a really fast reload time allows you to outmaneuver most of the fast cards in the game. This is incredibly valuable. While he does have more health, he is still a little more squishy, and this leads to that mobility really adding up in your favor. So honestly, don't be afraid to spam that ult a little bit. It is your friend, and it is really good, which is going to come into some other tips here momentarily. But before we do that, let me just continue with the ult, explain a couple things for you. The ultimate ability does not make you levitate. It does not go over water, so don't try to go swimming. But it does lead for some very interesting plays. Now, let's talk about tip number 2. Tip number 2 is like this. Think like Lucha. What do I mean by that? Smoker is a mini Lucha. If you play him like a mini Lucha, you will find this card to be incredibly effective on the frag field. And that is not an exaggeration. What I found here from dueling with this card was that this card plays best whenever you think like a Lucha. You play cover, you push towers, and you use the ultimate ability so you can inflict extra damage on your opponents. This is an incredibly valuable asset with the changes that came with this card, especially, well, let's hold off on that. We're going to save that for tip number 3, and you guys will see what I mean here. But overall, trust me on this one. Think like a Lucha. A baby Lucha, but a Lucha. Now for tip number 3. Tip number 3 goes like this. Primary plus ultimate ability. This goes along with thinking like a Lucha. If you hit somebody with the primary, they now get poisoned for 3 full seconds. And you also leave a toxic smoke trail, so they can keep repoisoning themselves the longer they are in this smoke trail. Watch what happens to this poor Piper. She is in trouble. Lot of trouble. Comboed with the ultimate ability and the primary fire, and Piper Reese is off the field. Now, for tip number 4, and that goes like this. Why don't you like, comment, and subscribe for me? I really do appreciate that. Sorry, had to fit it in. Let's move into a montage. Alrighty, now guys, let's talk about our final thoughts on Smoker. Because as a whole, this card is in a very interesting spot. While he is not meta, his changes are useful and valuable, especially in a tournament setting. What does that mean for you and me? Well, it means if you're dueling somebody and you have to ban certain cards, this card might be a little bit of a trap you can run into people with. The ultimate ability with the ability to poison and the combination of that you can't get him out of the darn ult is valuable and painful for most opponents to play. I consistently found that this card was very hard to kill, even for the more meta cards currently in Frag. Darius, AO, both struggle with the Smoker, and that's because of the mobility, guys. The mobility plus that poison screen is no joke, and it should be noted that it's worth trying if you haven't already. This card is enjoyable to play. He's a baby Lucha, essentially, and if you play him like that, you will have fun. I mean, everybody loves Lucha. Why can't we all love Smoker? Overall, I give the Smoker changes... I'm going to give the Smoker changes a B+. It's going to move him into a B+ to A- position on my rankings as well. Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out with us. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Stay safe, and I will see you, Legends, next time. Bye-bye.